So future, future or present, I'm not sure which this is. And it matches a little bit with what we've already talked about, is the notion that technology is going to keep changing. We're going to keep throwing technology at problems. The real concern is how much is that actually solving problems versus creating problems. So, to me, one of the interesting parts of this working group where there are at least, I don't know, a third of the companies that the focus of their work that they've been doing for both the employee value proposition and the employee experience were really about plant workers, and just how different that is. So the fact that we've got all these technologies, all this stuff on the internet, intranet in our companies around benefits, orientation. But if you're in a plant and you walk in, you don't have access to any of that stuff, right? Because you're on the line, you're working, you're not looking up your benefits at your desk computer because you don't have one. Maybe there's a couple shared computers somewhere. So all these technology solutions are geared towards our professional employees. We got to really rethink how do we connect this information to employees that don't have this access, whether that's because they can't access our internet once they go home, they want to share this stuff with a spouse or family members, but they can't access the site because they don't have good Wi-Fi or whatever it might be. Like there's still a point in time, I think we still need paper stuff. I don't know what that looks like. It wasn't clear how do we communicate, but so much of what we're doing in HR is geared towards the fact that we assume people in the company have easy access to all this information, but it's not true, right? So I think we have to still think about what are the different populations and how do we make sure that their employee experience isn't negatively impacted by us continuing to push everything digitally so that we can become more efficient as a function. Certainly, again, that came up around onboarding, came up around employee benefits, those things that people don't always pay attention to the moment we share it with them in a face-to-face meeting, but how do they access it later becomes really important. As Brad mentioned, this role of managers seems to be increasingly important, and more so by the year, that we keep asking managers to do more. There's a crucial point in our conversation in my working group that we kept coming back to the role of managers in employee experience. And at the same time, we're asking them to be coaches. We're asking them to get more opinions and insights from their employees on strategy and direction and execution, adding more tasks to their work as they get more self-service things added to them. I just wonder at what point managers blow up and resist doing anything. So I think we have to think about the employee experience of leaders and managers, and how do we create sustainable jobs for them. So that was one of the big employee groups we also talked about in terms of this employee experience is how do we make them ready? How do we give them the tools? How do we give them the capabilities? But are we at some point asking too much of them that's going to create a negative employee experience that makes it hard for us to find, retain, develop the leaders of the future. And then again, I think the last piece of this future forward is it's really clear that technology is moving super fast, and that's going to continue to change work as faster than we can probably keep up with it. So again, really put that emphasis on how do we really think about the sensing of how people are feeling about the organization, how they're feeling about work, what are their concerns. And so, speeding up the frequency with which we can do some of that sensing of the employee experience is super important.